Hi there. Welcome to HPS 493, the Public Health Internship course. I am excited to be here today. Note this video is narrated, so as needed adjust your sound and or view with closed captioning, which is available through the YouTube viewing option on publichealth.arizona.edu/undergraduate/internships. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Laura Gromwald. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. I am the internship instructor and a lecturer here in the College of Public Health, and I wanted to share one of the reasons I really like working with students on internships, because I think these kind of pre-professional experiences are really valuable for helping you figure out not only what specific work you want to do, but what you want in a workplace and what you want in work colleagues, which is really hard to imagine in the intangible. But when you're on a job site, on an internship site, you'll have a much easier time figuring that out. I like to support students as they are experiencing the real world and launching their career into public health. And I love participating with you every semester as you apply concepts from the classroom that you've learned over the last few years to the agencies and the community partners where you're working. You will really bring some great skills, and your internship sites are all going to be happy to have you. Don't hesitate to reach out to me at any point during the semester. You can email me. That's the best way to do initial contact. You can always call my office phone as well, but it's really easiest to email me to set up a time. We can meet in person or talk on the phone or meet via video conferencing. I'm really happy to be a resource for you. And wanted to share that you are among about 130 public health internship students who are working on your internships this semester. So that's an exciting cohort. Next, I want to read this land acknowledgement statement, which is important to me as an instructor and also to the university. The University of Arizona sits on the original homelands of indigenous peoples who have stewarded this land since time immemorial. Aligning with the university's core value of a diverse and inclusive community, it is an institutional responsibility to recognize and acknowledge the people, culture, and history that make up the Wildcat community. At the institutional level, it's important to be proactive in broadening awareness throughout campus to ensure our students feel represented and valued. Now I want to go through just a brief overview of what we're going to talk about in this Getting Started video. I'm going to go over what the shared expectations are for this course, the responsibility of the student, of the preceptor or the site supervisor, and of myself as the instructor, some of the internship assignments that you'll complete. I'll go through some common questions and experiences and share some advice from your peers. So some of the shared expectations, first and foremost, is the internship manual. This is the syllabus that you'll use throughout the semester, and that's available on the content page. And this creates those expectations and responsibilities and includes information about how to earn the grade that you would like out of this class. So that you can understand your responsibilities as students. It's not just the applied experiential learning that you'll do on the job site outside the college, but there's also these academic courses that you will complete, just like any other course you're getting credit for. So the work plan that you have created will be the sort of the guidepost that you'll use to lead you this semester. And you worked on that with your agency, so that should be familiar to both of them. But if it's been a while since you've written it, I do encourage you to refresh it and even go over it with your preceptor during the first week of your internship, just so that you're both on the same page. There may be an opportunity to tweak it or refine it if the project has changed a little bit. That's totally fine. It's just important that you keep me in the loop about that so that then when you complete some of the further academic assignments, there's no dissonance between what your work plan says and what your actual work at the internship site is doing. And that way you also have my support to make sure that the workload continues to be reasonable and appropriate for you as an intern. So further in the shared expectations, for 98% of you, you are enrolled in either 6 units for 250 contact hours or 3 units for 125 contact hours. And sometimes students wonder, why are these the contact hours that are mandated? Well, it's university policy to have 45 hours of contact for every 1 unit of enrollment. So if we were to do the math a little bit, 6 units times 45 contact hours is actually 270 contact hours. But in the College of Public Health, we've adjusted that down to 250 contact hours to account for the academic component of the internship that you'll spend time on completing the assignments. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the contact hours, when they can count. That's where I'll start here. The first day you can officially count your internship hours is the first day of classes, January 15th, and the last day will be May 6th. Over spring break, it's really up to you and your agency and the availability, whether you log any contact hours that week or not. Sometimes students log quite a few hours that week and bank those hours, and other times you may have an opportunity that where you're going to be away from your internship. Either way is fine, but again, this is one of those situations where I encourage you to communicate right away with your preceptor, just so they have it on their calendar and you're both on the same page about what's going to happen during that week in March. Some of you may have done some training before the official start of classes. That's fine. That will just be considered volunteering at the site. So again, you won't officially log those hours until you start on January 15th. I also wanted to talk a little bit about how you log those contact hours. So these are averages here on the slide that you can see, and assume that you're beginning on January 15th and continuing through May 6th without any major time off. If that's the case, you will average 17 hours per week for a 6-unit internship and 8.5 hours per week for a 3-unit internship. Now, as I said, these are averages, right? So you make your own plan. If you have an internship that's event-oriented, you may log well over 17 hours that week because you're working throughout the weekend. And you'll just compensate for that during another week when you won't have to work as many hours. This is, again, something that you want to talk about with your preceptor, making sure that the two of you are clear on when those hours will be completed and that there's no ambiguity, so that when you get to your midterm or final evaluation and conversation, you will be on the same page with them. So a note on the hours. In addition to the contact hours, and I've already alluded to this, students are expected to spend about 20 hours working on the internship assignments. These are reports and reflections, a LinkedIn profile, an e-portfolio, etc. And just as a reminder, the hours you spend working on these academic assignments do not count on your contact hours. So you should not log any of those hours on the activity log, and I'll talk about that log in a little bit. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the responsibilities. You can see this triangulated relationship that we have between you, me as the internship instructor, and your preceptor, which is the agency supervisor. So let's talk about your responsibilities first as the student intern. You want to make sure that you've done a thorough review of the internship manual. You want to work to deliver your work plan while realizing that it is a plan. And what that means is that it might shift, and again, that's okay. And there's an opportunity to talk with your preceptor at the midterm review if you need to change that work plan at all. You should treat this internship experience like a job. Be professional. Remember that you're representing not only yourself, but the college and the U of A. So you want to just keep that in mind. What if this is somebody who writes you a letter of recommendation in the future? You want them to be able to say, you came in, you were polished, you were professional, and you were the kind of person that someone else will want to hire. Similar to that, in terms of professional communication, you want to make sure you're communicating your needs to your preceptor. It's perfectly appropriate to be making sure you're clear on technology, workspace, expectations, dress code, etc. You also want to make sure you're negotiating your schedule with your preceptor. So this is particularly important if you have to miss, especially if something unexpected comes up. If you're running, 5 to 10 minutes late, ask your preceptor, would they like you to inform them, or if it's only kind of a major chunk of time that you would be late, half an hour or beyond. I have supervised students in the past, and I've had them email me and ask if they could work from home that day. Sometimes that will be appropriate for an internship, so ask about those things. Sometimes it's going to be site-specific, sometimes there'll be some flexibility, but that's all the negotiation around your schedule that you want to work on with your preceptor. And you also want to make sure, as one of your responsibilities, that you're completing all the required assignments on the posted D2L page by those posted deadlines. So just like any other academic course, it's your responsibility to get those in on time. The difference with an online course, of course, is that I'm not going to see you and remind you all the time about that. So it's really put it on your calendar or whatever trick you need to do to get yourself really ready to be hitting all your deadlines. Responsibilities of your preceptor. So just a reminder, the agency will be the place where you're interning, and the preceptor is your site supervisor at that agency who's signed off on your work plan. So the preceptor will serve as a mentor for you. They will answer any questions and help you resolve issues. They will serve as a point of contact for me as the internship instructor. They will communicate any issues or concerns directly to me. So it's good for you to know that they're my point of contact at the agency as well. And they will complete your midterm and final evaluations and sign off on your activity logs. So we will all be in communication during the semester. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that you may have confidential conversations with me. And if we are having a confidential conversation about something happening at your internship, I will not share that unless I've explicitly talked with you about it. So some of my responsibilities, like I was saying, I'm an ongoing point of contact for you and the preceptor. I will grade any of your internship assignments, and I will assign your final internship grade. And just to reiterate the confidentiality piece, feel free to share with me. We can talk, we can brainstorm and strategize, and I will always be clear in my communication with you if I'm going to communicate anything to your preceptor. So I want to take a minute here just to acknowledge that we are all human. What does this mean? You are human. It means mistakes happen sometimes, and you're learning. That means you don't know everything. That's part of this pre-professional experience, and your preceptors understand that. So every semester students find themselves in situations they didn't expect to be, but they happen. It's okay. Reach out to me if something like that's going on. I'm here to help you process it and get through it, whether on the phone or in person. A lot of times it's just having another pair of ears, listening to a problem, and being able to provide a little bit of guidance and suggestion on how to problem solve for whatever's going on in that internship site. And when you're learning, your preceptor knows that you don't know everything. That's going to be expected. They and I are there to help you process your learning, but especially I'm here for you. Any mistakes, any successes, you can share them all with me. Just know that I'm here to help you with this experience and with your learning. I also want to acknowledge and reiterate again that it's okay to ask for help. That's why I have this job. I really enjoy the one-on-one contact that I have with students. And so don't feel like it's a burden if you want to be in touch. Again, phone call, video conferencing, in-person meeting. I want to really help you in this experience to have it be fulfilling, rewarding, where you learn something and that you really learn something about yourself too. So some of the things that students turn to me for help include balancing internship and other responsibilities. This is going to be a new experience for a lot of you. So if you're doing that 6-unit internship, finding an extra 17 hours in your week can be challenging. So I'm here to help if that's one of your concerns. If a difficult conversation must happen, again, you can have that conversation with me first. If you have an email that you're trying to type up, and you can run that email past me first. I'm happy to give you advice on that. I'm really a safe space for you to come and practice those things, and we can strategize around it together. If there's a situation at your site, at your internship site that's making you feel uncomfortable in your gut for whatever reason, please come talk to me so we can problem solve around this, so it can be less uncomfortable, and so hopefully we can turn it into a different situation where you feel empowered through the communication and know that I have your back around that. I'm also here to help you process your learning through cultural humility. And a lot of people have heard of cultural competence or cultural awareness, and cultural humility is sort of a step beyond that, where it's really recognizing that no one can be an expert in another person's culture. So even though we can't be experts in other people's cultures, we should still try our best to understand and recognize and acknowledge other cultures. I'm still learning how to do this. This is a lifelong process. For me, it's part of the practice of being a teacher, part of the practice of being an ally. It's a lifelong endeavor, and it really is something that will enrich your experience in all aspects of life and can really help you soar in the workspace and really serve direct service clients as well as internal clients at any kind of internship site. Finally, let me just say again, it's totally cool to lean on me. It's 100% okay to ask for help. It's really part of my job here. And like I said, I love the coaching and mentoring part of this experience, so don't hesitate. So how do you process your learning on the academic side of things in this class? This is a list of the academic assignments you'll be working on. A Getting Started quiz, you'll go ahead and do that right after you finish this video. There's an early check-in that you'll complete early in the semester. Just a quick report that you'll provide to me so that you can have a foundation and I can have a foundation for your experience. The foundational report's a little more in-depth. It gives you an opportunity to learn about the organization and interview your preceptor one-on-one. You will also complete a LinkedIn profiling and networking discussion, and that's a great opportunity for you to just get started thinking about how you want to tell the narrative of your experience at the U of A and as a public health professional. You'll have a midterm activity log. Your preceptor will complete a midterm evaluation and have a one-on-one conversation with you about it, and then you will turn in a midterm evaluation reflection. There's also an e-portfolio, again, another opportunity to present the work that you've done and to think about what are the different artifacts from your time at the U of A that you would want to share with someone in the professional world who might want to hire you as a public health professional. And there'll be a lot of details about that as you get forward to that assignment. There'll be a final activity log. Your preceptor will complete a final evaluation. You will have a final reflection. And then in the end, there's a student evaluation of the internship, which is required to pass the class. This is an example of the grading rubric. The academic assignments are really set up not to be busy work, but to support the learning that you're doing through your experiential side of things with this academic reflective side. So students in the past have said they really appreciate the assignments because they help them do just that and they don't feel like busy work. So on the syllabus of the internship manual, you'll see all this spelled out. The required assignments, the grading rubric is superior, pass, and fail, so you'll see the points required overall, and with each assignment to earn one of those grades, and so that will help you give you structure as you're thinking about completing this academic work. The first assignments you'll complete are to read thoroughly the internship manual and take the Getting Started quiz after finishing this video, of course. And then setting up your activity log and starting to document your internship work. So you will download that activity log from the D2L site on the content page and get that set up so you can start using it right away. Here's a screenshot. This is a slightly outdated version of D2L, but this will give you an idea of where you can find those first assignments. You can find the Getting Started information under quiz. You can find it under on the content page as well. And you'll also find the internship manual embedded right into the site on the content page. This is a screenshot of the activity log. So again, you will download it and you will fill out all the information that you can see in front of you. And then you'll just use this each week to track your hours and summarize your activities and write about the connection to public health. So this is not something with the connection to public health in particular where you're just cutting and pasting from week to week. You really want to be actively thinking about what work you did that week and what you learned from it. So if the work from week to week has some consistency, your lessons and your takeaways can still have some variety because you'll be building on them each week. So you'll have an opportunity to build on your knowledge and your reflection on that experience. So let's see, you're going to use that template, you'll do that short summary. At the end of the internship, your hours should total up to 125 hours for 3 units, 250 hours for 6 units. At the midterm and the final, you will email this activity log to your preceptor and me in the same email. The log will then be verified by your preceptor, and then that part of your academic activity will be accounted for. Examples of what to include and what to not include. So students ask about this. Sometimes they want to know what counts and what doesn't count. So things that count in terms of recording your hours in your activity log, actual hours logged at the agency site. If you are traveling to an agency event during your regularly scheduled hours, so if you're traveling to an event that you're doing and that there's a 45 minutes of driving, that can count. Or working on an approved project at home. As I mentioned before, sometimes there will be an opportunity for some of you to work remotely. As important is to think about what activities are not going to count on your activity log hours. That's your normal travel to and from your internship site. So if you normally have to drive 20 minutes to get to your internship site, that should not be accounted for on your activity log. So for example, when I go to work in the morning, I don't count the time it takes me to get from my house to my job as part of my work hours. But I had a meeting today at the student union, and that time I spent walking from Drockman Hall to the student union was part of my work hours. So I could log that if I was, keeping track of my logs, hours in an activity log. If you have any questions about travel time, don't hesitate to ask me so I can help you figure that out. Any kind of the internship course assignments, as stated before, those do not count in your activity log hours. And then shadowing physicians, working as a physical therapy tech, doing any clinically focused activities, those hours cannot count on your activity log either because they are not public health related, they're clinical health related. So if you have any questions about that difference between clinical health activities versus public health activities, email me. We will figure out a time to talk so it's clear for you and you don't have any questions about it. As I said, the midterm and final evaluations will be emailed to your preceptor. I will send them a link. They will complete that evaluation and they will meet with you one-on-one to review and talk about the assessment. Now you can actually see what this evaluation looks like because I've posted a version of it on D2L. So if you want a preview of what those questions will be like, you can see them right there. And students are often curious about how the evaluations impact their grade. So the midterm evaluation itself does not impact your grade, but the evaluation reflection that you turn in impacts your grade. That's after you have that one-on-one meeting with your preceptor. And then the final evaluation does impact your grade, but that's really just showing growth, showing that you have been in good communication with the preceptor throughout the semester. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. A note on deadlines. There's a page in the internship manual that has all the deadlines listed. They're also listed on the D2L course calendar. The deadlines are pretty firm. And just like there's accountability on your job or internship site, there's going to be accountability for your academic assignments as well. So I also want to acknowledge, though, that life happens and things can come up. This can happen on a job site as well. So what's important here is the communication piece. If you are trying to fly back from Chicago and your flight is delayed and for some reason that means you can't get an assignment in, email me and let me know that. And then I'll be able to be flexible with you on the deadline. So it's always best to be open about communication, and that's not only for these deadlines for the academic assignments, but as a general rule for your internship site as well. That's a good standard of professional communication. So some common questions and experiences that students have. I'm going to shift gears a little bit here and share some advice that students have had in the past. So the first is, how can I set myself up for a proactive start at my internship site? So the best thing to do is set up a meeting with your preceptor during the very first week of your internship site. And if you can, try and set up weekly meetings with your preceptor. I've heard a lot of students recommend that. That's really going to keep you grounded and keep the two of you in contact so that there's going to be no ambiguity around your learning goals, your activities at the job site, and whether you're completing them or not. If you are watching this video, if you happen to watch this a little bit late, email your preceptor right away to meet with you so you can get those things clear together. You can review your work plan. You can ensure that you're on the same page as far as the goals. You can ask them any questions about preferred method of communication. For instance, would they prefer a text message, or do they always want you to email or call? So you want to have a good understanding together about what the expectations are for you. So the second one here, I'm having a tough time connecting with or communicating with my preceptor. What should I do? So this is a tough one, and it does happen from time to time. So first, it's good to look around you at the internship and see if there are other people there that you could turn to ask for some help, or some mentorship. So that's a good step because they're already in the agency. They're going to understand the culture there, the work culture, and be able to give you some more of the inside scoop. If you just are not really connecting with a mentor at your site, you can always contact me. In fact, I prefer that you loop me in even if you are talking with someone at your site, just so I know in case something comes up down the line that I have a sense of the history of your experience there. So if you are having a lot of challenges, loop me in. We can strategize around communication. Part of the reason that I want you to have a great relationship with your preceptor is because this is someone who you may want to serve as a reference, a letter of recommendation writer, or someone who might even recommend you directly for a job. So you want to get things started on the right foot. However, there are times when there's just a lack of chemistry or there's something going on for the preceptor that is making it difficult for them to be there in the way that we want them to be. If that's the case, please get in touch with me right away so that we can talk and figure out a strategy. Will my internship be valuable and fun? Will it be worth your time? A lot of students are nervous about this. I want to reassure you that almost all students report that their internship is a wonderful experience. It's valuable. It's one of their favorite parts of their public health degree program. So I encourage you to give it your all. Really put yourself out there. Be brave and seek an experience that is valuable and fun for you. Soak up as much as you can. If you feel yourself stressed out, reach out to me. You might feel busy, and that's great. But if you're really feeling stressed out because you're not supported, talk to me so we can figure something out and I can support you through that. Now I want to read through some advice from your peers. Make it clear what you want to gain from the internship, and if you do not think you're gaining that from what you're doing, talk to the preceptor and see if you can work together to figure something out. Bring your own ideas and creativity to the internship. Do not hesitate to voice them because you can see your ideas come to fruition. When working in the community, be as knowledgeable about the subject matter as you can be, but also be honest with yourself and the community about your limitations on the subject matter. And this gets back to that cultural humility piece a little bit. It's okay not to fully know what's going on in the beginning. It took me a while to get in the groove of everything that was happening at my internship site. Don't hesitate to take advantage of meeting with the internship instructor. She helped me figure out a problem, and it was so helpful to know I had someone who understood my situation. Really take advantage of all the community partners. All these different partners could one day lead to a job, so it's important to make a great impression. So there are going to be some changes ahead for you, and this is a super exciting time. You're going to have some amazing learning experiences. I have no doubt that some of you are going to walk away from this internship experience with a job lead or even a job offer, because that happens every semester. It's one of the things that we love about this program in the College of Public Health. It might not be a job with your direct agency because students sometimes get jobs with community partners that they've met through their internship site. But just be open, be professional, be enthusiastic, and really bring your all and show up authentically at yourself so you can get the most out of the experience as you can. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to me if you need any help with any of that. I want to read through a few required notices. The internship instructor, college, and university are not responsible for any financial obligations, including but not limited to travel, transportation, housing arrangements, medical care for injuries related to the internship experience. And finally, my contact information yet again, laurag1@email.arizona.edu. I really love connecting with the students in this experience. It's one of my favorite parts of the job. So be in touch. I'm happy to talk with you, meet with you, learn about your experience, and I wish you the best of luck. Have a great internship experience.